So you may have tried the lunge spiraling into a basic spin on 2 feet, can also be done onto 1 foot. But we had a very good question from one of our viewers, which was, can a backwards spiraling lunge be used as a way into a spin? Perhaps not a forward spin, that would be a little impractical, but it is a really great way to prepare for backspin. Oh yeah. Now, backspins, loop jumps, back 310s, all of these skills are actually kind of related in this one particular control point that this exercise is going to give you, which is remaining checked and facing into our circle whilst we skate backwards. And so let's take a moment to see what that looks like. This backwards lunge, it's nowhere near as deep in the knee as our forwards lunge. Well, let's choose the right leg, shall we? Our forwards lunge could get really quite a deep, deep angle here. Now, it's not that we can't get a deep angle, but we don't need a deep angle, okay? We've got some angle going on here. The free leg, we'll call it a free leg, is reaching, you can see here, slightly ahead of my weight-bearing foot, right? Diagonal and ahead. And there is a jolly good reason for that. And the reason would be, we are trying to make sure that the pelvis likes to stay facing somewhat towards the center of our circle. Now, the center of our circle, we're going to relate it to anywhere that's perpendicular to your blade. Right? If you imagine, like I've got a little string and a push pin or a tack stuck in the floor, and I'm skating around, I'm basically drawing a little circle around that imaginary tack that's on the floor attached to my foot. So as we're going, my hips will not manage to be perfectly facing into the circle. That would cause too much stress on our knees. But compared to the circle line that I'm skating around, my pelvis will be facing about 45 degrees from the circle line. So we're here and we're skating around the circle, and we're maintaining this inward hug and focus so that we can maintain the body weight towards the little toe side of our foot. I like to break down my inside and outside edges into a sensation that relates predominantly to big toe side of my foot and the little toe side of my foot, right? So we can feel those two things as we go around. Quick and easy points of reference. You should feel your body leaning more towards your little toe side of your skating foot. So we've managed to make our lunge, and we can feel the circle diminishing, shrinking, getting smaller, big and getting smaller, 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 smaller. There comes a critical point where we're going to feel like we want to spin. And what we're going to try and do is use that as a moment to let our feet get used to crossing, like so. Now, hopefully, as we do this, we will either draw to a gentle stop, or if we keep our toes slightly turned in, we can gently keep rotating. Yeah, see that? This is known as a cross foot spin. Now, normally that's a very technical thing if you're trying to hold it for a long time, but if we're only going to be here briefly for a moment to sense what a spin is like, it shouldn't be too taxing. So we've been on our curve, lunging, shrinking, shrinking, shrinking. Now we're going to rise, cross, and let those toes face each other. Stand nice and straight. Weight will be mostly on the back foot, or the foot that's behind in your body space, and the foot that's in front is a stabilizer foot. So it was a stabilizer foot out here, and it's going to remain a stabilizer foot as we rise and cross and find our end position.
And now a little bit of background on why we're doing 2 feet on the floor. The center of your backspin is just past the little toe side of your backward outside edge of your spinning foot. The pointy finger is showing you my spinning foot, which is also carrying most of my weight. There's my little toe, there's my backward outside edge, and this is the direction that the spin will travel around my center. The crossed position of the right and left leg, toes together and heels apart, helps us to learn and recognize the sensation of the backward outside edge when rotating and spinning, guiding us to feel the center point of the spin, shown here as the pin and the red dot. Now that we've got the groundwork covered, let's talk about what's happening up top. As you begin to draw into the crossed foot position, this is your centering moment. We must remain facing the center of our circle, now the center of our spin. That means right side back, hip and shoulder. Left side will be ahead, hip and shoulder. And this will keep the torso focused towards the center of our spin. If we lose this active shaping and begin to face away from the spin center, we will be thrown out of the spin.
And as we gradually get used to that sensation of drawing round and into the starts of a spin, then we can gradually get used to picking up the left foot as it draws in and crosses. Of course, if you're spinning the opposite way, it'll be your right foot as you curve standing on your left, but I'm assuming that most people go in the most common direction. So yes, we will gradually be able to build this into a backspin. We can also use backwards lunges in a more decorative capacity. So for example, we can allow the free leg to go behind us with every lunge. And this can make for some really beautiful transitional movements in choreography. Doesn't have quite the same practical applications as the free leg in front version of the lunge, but it does have a really nice aesthetics that it can lend to any routine, really allowing us to stretch out and enjoy our movements and even practice getting lower in our lunging legs, developing some strength along the way.